Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Brita Nielsen. I have a PhD at the Department of Product Design. I've worked for 5 years now on the issue of designing for refugee camps. And I will speak now before Eric and Pietro from the Norwegian Refugee Council will talk about the challenges of NRC. So, I will start by being concrete. Let me introduce you to the socket. This is an energy generating football working by means of a pendulum inside. It is created to give kids in developing countries the opportunity to study in areas with no electrical grid. A pendulum-like mechanism inside this socket captures the kinetic energy whilst the user plays with the ball with 10 other kids. The electricity is then stored within the ball so that it can be used as an off-grid power source. So this is one of the designs that are created specifically to target refugees. Then you travel to a refugee camp to see if this is what refugees need. So here we are in Ethiopia in 2013 with Johannes and lots of kids following us. And then I went with Julia, who is here, and Katinka and Gudrun, and Johannes to a refugee camp where we spoke to refugee women, like Maha here.
Nice to meet you. We're coming from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, and there we study industrial design. And we're currently doing a research project about the food habits in the refugee camps, and this is what we want to ask you some questions about.
Yes. So the reason I'm showing you this is that when you meet Maha, who is one of the most vulnerable people on the planet, she lives in a refugee camp in Ethiopia. She's been there for 22 years. She's 26 years old. She has 9 kids. Instead of finding her way as a refugee to Norway, she's living in a refugee camp. What she wishes for is better access to clean water, school, work opportunities for her children, and all in all, a predictable future that she can plan. Currently, being a refugee who has not been resettled, she has few rights to work or study, her kids the same. Presenting Maha to the socket would solve few of her problems. It would at least be an insult to her, who spends all her day trying to keep her family safe and sound. She does, however, need clean and more affordable cooking tools. Cooking stoves have been introduced, but there is little fuel available to use in the stoves. As the students Katinka, Gudrun, and Julia from the video deduced, is that what people need is to be connected to the possibilities that exist in the host communities, the country where they're in. After observing that there was no fuel in the refugee camp, they went about this task by analyzing what types of systems and resources already existed in the area. The students went back to their hotel rooms and started searching the internet for suitable solutions. They found no information on natural resources in the area because it doesn't exist, or it is in the language Amharic. And they started going out and talking to people, like you see on this picture. One day, one of the students told me, you know what, we found out, people actually know a lot. So this is something that happens when you go to the context that you cannot find out at NTNU. They, for instance, found out that the neighbor town has a university that is working hard to solve the energy needs and that have already designed and produced methanol stoves. They found that there are already donkey fuel car companies driving between the houses to collect human waste and collect money for it. They found that the camels are the main valuta. One camel that the kids here are herding is worth at least $1,000. So this is how they started thinking to solve the energy needs. So they calculated that the surrounding community, by collecting human waste and animal waste, could potentially serve all the energy needs of the households in the 3 refugee camps surrounding the town. Host countries today do not see their concerns as connected with the concerns of refugees, since it is the UN or NRC or other international agencies running it, and they do not see it as something that will give longer-term benefits for their countries. Therefore, they are not involved, or they're not. If they're involved, their motivation lies not in the sustainability of the solution. So the student solution was an animal waste collecting system where refugee youth could collect waste and return this to the donkey fuel car company in return for paid school fees. So what did these students learn? So this is what it looks like, and one of the things that I experience when students are doing projects like this is that it's hard for them to get acknowledgement from the product design environment because it looks like this. And the reason it looks like this is that if you go to this area and you see, there are maybe only 3 kinds of material available, and there's nothing else that you can import. Because Ethiopia, for example, there's too high taxes on importing metal that is larger than this cubic meter. So everything is scrap metal that is welded together, and all materials that you have in this area is tarp and maybe leather, and you have to work with that if you're going to make something sustainable for local communities to create a small-scale enterprise around. So what they learned is that humanitarian innovation is not about products, it's about systems, policies, and it's about services that can connect the technologies with the population and with people and find incentives that make it last. This can be business models or public-private partnerships or just connecting things in different ways in the host country. And then I have 3 B's of humanitarian innovation. It's big, that it's if you work with a humanitarian organization, it has to be scalable. It's very important that you think of solutions that can reach many people. It's important that it's basic, because in every emergency you will have needs like water, latrines, and connected to latrines you will have, for example, to make ways that people will actually empty the latrines in many countries. You can say to the host population you will give them $500 to empty the latrine, and still won't do it because they just have a culture of not touching human feces. So how can we as designers think about and solve things like that? And sometimes the end result can be boring. I'm not saying I think this is a really perfect solution. But if you haven't been there and you haven't seen the materials, maybe you think that it looks boring. Maybe it doesn't look like the coolest thing you would want to have, but it might be exactly the right thing there. I think designers need to reprogram to work with humanitarian innovation. We have in design thinking a lot of focus on rapid prototyping, rough modeling, doing everything very fast. So how do we bridge this with trust building that we need when we work in the development context? Because trust building takes time, and trust and good partnerships is what makes your solution actually change practices. So it's about connecting needs and agendas of communities with the needs of refugees. And remember that the real innovation in humanitarian innovation is to change practice on the other end. It's not that they use your product or solution. And that the ultimate success in humanitarian innovation is the one where you're not needed. So you have to design towards yourself being expendable, because it's all about the needs of the host country and the needs of the refugees. And then I ended up with the same thing that was in the presentation before me, because I saw it 2 days ago. And I think it's the same way that we have to think with humanitarian innovation, just that we have to figure out the factor that makes these immaterial innovations work for the most vulnerable, for the people that don't have any resources. Because they are also, in this kind of solution, they might be the people that lag behind. So how do we reach them with innovation? Yes. That's what I want to say. Thank you.